What is going on, Bucks fans? Evan Wanish here, back at you with yet another video talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And today we have another tier list. So the 2023 season is almost here, believe it or not. But I decided let's put 2022 to bed once and for all. Let's put it to rest right here, right now, by doing yet another tier list. Now, this is all the games that were played by the Buccaneers in 2022 during the 2022 season. So we are going to rank them from awesome, great, okay, bad, awful. So the Buccaneers went 8 and 9, not great, as we can see the creator down there, but not great. So let's get into it. And we're going to go by order here. San Francisco, think we put awful. The Buccaneers got demolished in this game. Not good. Brock Purdy's coming out party pretty much, and it wasn't fun. The Bucks offense got mauled. The Bucks defense was outclassed. It was not a fun day. Really not fun. Final score 35-7. San Francisco came out on top, and just really not great. Not great. So San Francisco is everything awful. Cincinnati, I'm gonna go bad, and I'm gonna go bad because I would go awful because technically the Bucks did blow a pretty big lead at halftime, but they did play decent for a half, right? And it imploded in the second half. I think the offense had three straight drives or something with a turnover. We all remembered the botched special teams play with Gio Bernard and everything. Just a bad loss where the Buccaneers, it seemed like they had it, right? It seemed like, okay, this is when they're going to figure it out. Not the case. They end up losing the game after being up 17-3 at halftime. They end up losing the game 34-23. So outscored only 6 points in the second half. Not good as they're outscored, 31-6 in the second half. So not good. So that goes in the bad. Cleveland. Now, this is a loss, but it was in overtime. The Buccaneers had a chance to win the game, and it was fourth down, and David Njoku just made an incredible one-handed catch. So sometimes you got to give an opponent some credit. That being said, it's got to go in the bad. Still got to go in the bad because the Buccaneers were one play away from winning the game. If they stop them on that fourth down right there, if Njoku doesn't make that play, then the Buccaneers go on to win that game. Beat Cleveland. And then in overtime, they had a couple chances to win that game in overtime and could not do it. Penalties, stalled drives really hurt them in that game. So I think that's a game a lot of people tried to forget. Arizona, we'll go okay. I mean, Arizona at this point was terrible, and the Buccaneers just weren't playing well at all. And the Bucks were down multiple scores late in the fourth quarter, ended up rallying to come back, which we'll see. That's a little bit of a trend here. End up rallying to come back. So a win's a win, and that's why it's in the okay. Obviously, if they would have lost, it would have been pretty bad or maybe even awful. Because if they lose this game, there's no guarantee they even win the division. And this was an Arizona team starting Trace McSorley. So almost lost to Trace McSorley on Christmas night in front of a national audience. Would not be fun. Let's go to Kansas City. And they got their revenge on the Buccaneers for Super Bowl 55, but we're going to go with bad. And I wouldn't say awful. I wouldn't say awful. I'll go bad because just the offense showed sparks. And at that point in the season, that's all you were looking for was the offense to show signs of life. And they finally did. Unfortunately, the defense really couldn't hang with Patrick Mahomes and company. So that's just a bad loss there. Cowboys. So this one is going to be the first one. We're going to be talking about the first Cowboys one. I'm going to be putting this in great. I really am. I'm going to be putting this. What a way to start the season. Your defense going out there and dominating. Your offense, yeah, okay, they didn't do a great job, but at the time, not many people were like overly concerned about it, right? So, I do think in 19-3 didn't allow a touchdown. I think that it's a great way to start the season. If they forced a couple turnovers, the offense played a relatively clean game. I know Brady had the one turnover, but the red zone woes were basically the the big factor here. The Bucks couldn't cash in, couldn't turn 3 into those 7, which, as we could see, the rest of the season was an issue. But that Dallas one's great. This Dallas one, however, we're gonna put in the awful. Playoff game, wild card game, can't happen. Dudes got embarrassed on Monday night. Well, technically Monday Night Football lost 31-14 to the Cowboys. Cowboys get their revenge. Buccaneers just weren't in sync on either side of the ball, especially the defense. Though, I mean, Dak Prescott, Kellen Moore, and company, they picked the Bucs defense apart. I remember the read option play where there was no, like, literally Dak could have walked in the end zone. He did walk in the end zone, or he could have tossed it to, I believe it was Schultz in the end zone for a wide open touchdown. Had his choice. The Bucs defense just could not hang. The Bucs offense did have a lot of juice. Brady threw that red zone interception, which was super rare for him in a Bucs uniform. I believe that might have been the first time he done it in a Bucs uniform. And this was Tom Brady's last game, not just in a Bucs uniform, but in the NFL. So I think you got to put that in the awful. I think that's got to go in the awful. The Atlanta game, we're going to do this as the first game, which was at home versus Atlanta. We're going to put that in the okay. Mostly okay because the Buccaneers dominated the game, but it ended up being pretty close towards the end. And that's obviously not great. So, I believe they were up 21-0, like late in the game. And the Falcons rallied and almost came back. Really, they scored 15 points in the fourth quarter. So the Buccaneers won 21-15. And this was a game where you're like, okay, the Bucs are up 21-0 late in the third. All right, like they're just gonna take care of business here. This is gonna be a nice, easy win. Nope. So what could have been a great win is just okay. So just okay. And unfortunately, that's where it's gonna go. The other game versus Atlanta, and this is probably going to be the only loss that's in the okay column. Maybe another one, but we'll see. But this is okay just because the Bucs were up at halftime and then they pulled their starters at halftime. If they hadn't pulled their starters, do they lose the game? I don't know. That's why it's tough to judge this one. So I'm going to go with okay for that. Now, the Green Bay Packers, this is actually the other one that I looked at and said, you know what? This is going to be an okay. You know why it's going to be an okay? Okay, don't get me wrong. No loss is okay, right? No loss is great, but the Bucs, you got to understand, Mike Evans was suspended. Chris Godwin was out, and I believe Julio Jones was out. So the Buccaneers wide receiver 1 was Russell Gage. They had just signed Cole Beasley, and he played a good amount of snaps. It came down to a 2-point conversion at the end of the game to potentially tie it. Cole Beasley, who was on the team for days, was on the field for that game tying 2-point conversion. Of course, the pass fell short and the Buccaneers fell to the Packers, but I'll put this in okay because, like, my feelings after the game were I just wasn't as frustrated because I'm like, if they even have like just Mike Evans, they probably win the game. So I do think it's okay. There's only 2 losses I'll be in the okay. The one they put their backups in the second half. The other one, they barely had an NFL receiving course. But it was nice to see the Buccaneers defense sort of shut down Aaron Rodgers again, have Aaron Rodgers' number. So that was nice to see, and that's why that's in the okay. The Carolina one will also go with the home game first. Let's go. Let's go awesome. Why not? We can go awesome. Tom Brady and Mike Evans just went off. The deep ball was flowing, and the Buccaneers clinched the NFC South. So I think you got to go awesome for that. I think that's got a warrant and awesome. So I think we got to do that. The Carolina game at Carolina. This is going in the awful. This was terrible. Just simply terrible. A lifeless offense that was against the Carolina team that was reeling. I mean, they had I believe, just fired Matt Rule. They had no hope, and the Buccaneers failed to score a touchdown. They lost the game 21-3. PJ Walker did whatever he really wanted to the Bucs defense. The Panthers running game was really strong in this one as well. Just not good. Not good football. Not the way you wanted to rebound after they had lost the previous week. Not good at all. So let's go to the Rams. And I'm going to say this is also awesome. And I have a couple reasons. It is a bias thing. Okay. It is a bias thing for me. Because I was at this game. Okay, so it is a tad bit biased. Even though it would be great if I wasn't at this game, but I was at this game, and it just felt so good to beat the Rams because they had never done it in the Brady era. Like the always say it was the Saints, the Saints, the Saints. Then the Bucks beat the Saints in the playoffs and everything. Okay, well, 2020 regular season they lost to the Rams. The 2021 regular season they lost to the Rams, and then the 2021 postseason they lost to the Rams. The Rams kicked them out of the playoffs. So it was finally nice to get some revenge on the Rams and the way they did it, coming back at the final drive. Kate Otten, Tom Brady to Kate Otten, the game-winning touchdown with just a couple seconds left. Storybook ending there for that. So that's why I have that in the awesome. The Ravens, just bad. Thursday night football. The Bucks actually did play bad in the second half or the first half, and then the second half, it seemed like the Ravens offense just sort of flipped the switch and realized that you can run on this Tampa Bay defense, and run they could, and run they did. They ran all over the Tampa Bay defense in the second half. Was not fun. So that goes in the bad. The Saints. Now we're talking about the Saints. The game in Tampa versus the Saints. I'll say awesome. I'll say awesome because again, it was a home game against the Saints. The Bucks beat the Saints in the playoffs. That was in New Orleans. They still hadn't. They actually the Bucks before this game in Tampa, in the Tom Brady era, the Bucks had not scored a touchdown inside Raymond James Stadium versus the Saints. In the entire Tom Brady era, the first two games when it was Saints at Tampa, no touchdowns, zero. So it was nice to finally score a touchdown against the Saints. Not only that, but you beat them at the end with Tom Brady to Rashad White with a couple seconds left. Always good, and that marked the sweep of the Saints. So how sweet is that? This is the Saints in New Orleans. This was week 2. Will go great. Obviously, you had the big blow up between Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore in this game, but you also had the Buccaneers defense really shutting down the Saints offense. The Buccaneers defense picking off Jameis Winston 3 times, including a pick 6. So I'm sure a lot of Bucs fans were like, whoo, like glad to be on the other side of that. And then the Buccaneers finally beating the Saints in the regular season for the first time in a long time, in a very, very long time. So it's been a while since the Buccaneers have beaten the Saints in the regular season. Better to do it in New Orleans too. So that was a good one. And Seattle, we're going to go with great. It seemed like the offense really clicked in this game, even though they did miss opportunities to pull away. The whole Fournette throw thing, Brady falling was stupid. Brady threw a pick late in the game. So like there was a few opportunities for them to run away with the game, which they didn't. Still ended up winning it though. Still ended up winning the first ever NFL game in Germany. So I think it was a positive, great game. And then Pittsburgh. It's either bad or awful for sure. Mm, I'll go awful. I'll go awful. Anytime. I know Pittsburgh's well coached, but like I don't know. Mitch Trubisky ended up coming in the game and making a few plays to beat him. Like, and then if you look at I believe, yeah, Pittsburgh was missing TJ Watt. They were missing Minka Fitzpatrick. I think they were missing another corner. Like they had some reserves in the secondary, and the Buccaneers offense just could not find any sort of life. And the Buccaneers ended up losing the game. So it was right after that first Atlantic game. You were hoping, all right, well, they got Pittsburgh and Carolina next. Not the case. Like to drop that game versus Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, a tough one. I know they're well coached, like, but there's still no excuse. Like you're the more talented team. The Buccaneers did not play like it. Like they played like they didn't want to be there. The defense was shaky, and then they made a few stops, but then couldn't make the stop when it counted the most. So the Buccaneers ended up falling to the Steelers. So that completes the list, a shorter tier list. But in the awesome, we have the game versus the Carolina Panthers. And let me actually pull up the full schedule to get the weeks here for you guys. We have The no, that's 2023 schedule. Let's say 2022. Okay. Okay, yeah. So we have the week, what is that, 17 game versus Carolina when the Buccaneers clinched the division. We have the week 9 game versus the Los Angeles Rams when the Buccaneers finally beat the Rams. We have the week 13 New Orleans Saints matchup where the Buccaneers came back to beat the Saints. Great is the week 1 matchup versus at the Dallas Cowboys. Also featured is at the New Orleans Saints and versus the Seattle Seahawks, which is in Germany. Okay, we have the win at Arizona. We have the win versus Atlanta. And we have 2 losses in the OK as well. We have the loss in Atlanta. The Buccaneers pulled their backups. And we have the loss versus Green Bay in Tampa. The Buccaneers just didn't quite have enough offensive firepower. The bad versus Cincinnati blew a pretty comfortable lead, just completely looked not in sync in the second half. Cleveland's bad. Cleveland wasn't a great team, had chances to win the game, couldn't get it done. Kansas City bad. The defense just could not stop them at all. Baltimore bad. Buccaneers had the lead, ended up coughing it up. This is then the defense sort of just got ran all over. Awful. San Francisco, which is week 14, 35-7. Brock Purdy dominates. The Bucks defense folds. Bucks offense can't do anything against one of the league's best defenses in the 49ers. Awful. The Cowboys, the playoff game. So bad way to go out. Sour taste in your mouth. Not the way that you wanted to end the season. 31-14 final in Tom Brady's final NFL game. Panthers, which was the week 7 game, 21-3, failed to score a touchdown against the Panthers team that at that point was low on themselves. And then Pittsburgh, which Pittsburgh had a lot of injuries on defense. The Buccaneers lost 20-18. Mitch Trubisky came in for Kenny Pickett late after Pickett left and made plays that the Buccaneers defense could not stop. So there's the full list. Take one more look at it. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, this isn't the right list. This is my list, and you guys can go on Tier Maker and do your own list. You can let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about this list. So I'm very eager to see what you guys think about this list, and let me know what you guys think. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. I like doing this kind of stuff. We're going to be doing these lists. We're going to be doing like Sporkle quizzes and stuff, maybe a couple other fun things here and there. We'll get James on for a couple of them too. It won't just be me, I promise. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and talk soon.